This is Carol Helping Carol here at the Community Media Center, and I'm Rich Salkin, and I'm here with Tammy Lofink, who turned tragedy into hope by forming an organization known as Rising Above Addiction. Tammy, the tragedy part of your story is, of course, very difficult to discuss, I'm sure, but something that needs to be known really to understand what your motivation is now for launching and maintaining this organization. So can you tell us a little bit about Rob and what you went through?
So Rob was 18 when he passed away from an overdose. He came out of the womb kind of with a mind of his own, and he was a struggle. He was a good kid. He had a great big heart. Everybody loved him. He was a jokester, but I think he really struggled with ADHD. And I tried to help him pretty much since he was born because I knew there was something. And then through the years, as he got older, the challenges got harder and harder. And I think in middle school, he started experimenting, probably with alcohol, maybe marijuana. I took him to counseling, was very active with the school system, trying to help him and trying to steer him towards friends that would, be good influences. And by high school, it kind of all went downhill. And I found myself unable to stay ahead of the situation no matter how much I tried.
You really found out the immense struggle of addiction when it comes to opioids specifically, I'm sure.
I did, but I didn't really know he was using opiates. I knew he was experimenting, but I had no idea of the intensity of what was going on until I got a call in the grocery store one day. His friend called me and said that we're here at the Harvest Inn and Rob's had a seizure. And we got to the hospital. There were drugs in his system. The whole next day I had spent trying to get him into treatment, and we were struggling because he was 17 years old at the time, and not a lot of places would take people who were under 18. The one place that would take him was in the city of Baltimore. My husband took him, and they ended up coming home together, and my husband said he wouldn't have left a stray dog there. It was very scary. So I guess we kind of regrouped and tried to help him through counseling and everything else. And or maybe that was when he was 16, because when he was 17, he had come home one day and sat in front of me, and it was clear he was on something more than marijuana, more than alcohol. I called 911. He went to the hospital. The doctor came out and said there were just a ton of drugs in his system. Mm-hmm. So we scrambled that whole day outside the hospital trying to find treatment, and we ended up sending him to a place called Phoenix House in Alexandria, Virginia. He spent, 30 days there. When he came out, he was getting ready to go in his senior year, and I just naively thought, well, okay, we did what we were supposed to. He's a teenager. He was struggling. We're all good now. And at the time, my father had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, so there was a lot of chaos in our home, but Rob seemed to be doing well. I got him into the home and hospital program for school because I didn't want him I just wanted to give him an opportunity to do well. I didn't want to send him back to school with the same people. So he graduated early, and
then you found out some pretty terrible news almost 5 years ago.
Right.
Correct?
On the 14th, it'll be 5 years.
And he had overdosed, and so now you were faced with a situation where the best way to cope was to create an organization, which it sounds to me was partially inspired by the lack of support that you felt and the lack of access to treatment.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of resources at the time.
Right.
And it was really hard.
Right. Okay, well, again, thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
I really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to talking more with you about this.